Rosa Lowinger, welcome to Cultural Charles Greenfield.
Thank you, Charles.
Rosa, the Wolfsonian-FIU on South Beach at Washington and 10th Street was donated by philanthropist Mitchell Wolfson Jr. in 1997 to FIU. It's the largest gift ever given in Florida to a public university. There are over 180,000 pieces, from furniture, industrial design objects, ceramics, rare books, propaganda posters, textiles, and ephemera. Tell us about the current exhibition at the Wolfsonian. It's called Promising Paradise, Cuban Allure, American Seduction.
The exhibit is based on this large gift given to the Wolfsonian by Vicki Gold Levi, an extraordinary collector of memorabilia and historical materials, and she became fascinated with Cuba, and she amassed probably one of the largest collections of photography and decorative objects and brochures that she was looking for a home for a long time. And she wound up donating the collection to the Wolfsonian with the idea that we would do an exhibit, and it was very emotional because we were telling a story about Cuban self-identity and how the relationship with the United States actually increased the Cuban sense of themselves as a nation and a cultural community that had its own definition. So every piece in the show elicits an emotional response. First of all, they're graphically gorgeous. Just about everything in the show is beautiful as an object in and of itself. But also it tells a story of a culture that is really exceptional in every way.
Well, I'd like to go a little deeper into the exhibit now. And I obviously, if you look at topics, there's Afro-Cuban, there's music, there's dance, there's sin in society, if you like, the mob, there's extravaganza, famous entertainers, and great hotels. The Tropicana nightclub is the symbol of your book. How do you fit in all that with the idea of your book and the exhibit itself?
Just exhibiting material is not interesting enough. So the story we aimed to tell was about the Cuban cultural exploration that occurred in the mid-20th century. This was a moment right after the Cuban Republic comes to be established in 1902. About 20 years after that, 25 years, the cultural and intellectual community of Cuba starts to try to really define what is Cubanness, what is Cubanidad, as it's called. But that influence starts to really take effect right away. That cultural crossroads that Cuba was in that early period leads to such things as Caruso coming to sing in Cuba in the 1920s. George Gershwin coming to Cuba and taking a piece of a famous Cuban song for one of his symphonies. Then we have the second wave is in the 50s. You know, the war in between kind of marks the breaking point.
Well, you know, I noticed obviously that there are some photos in the exhibit that from the 50s, and I was greatly impressed by Max Borges' architecture.
Well, actually, what it is considered to be one of the best modern buildings in the entire Caribbean. He was commissioned by Martin Fox, the owner of Tropicana, to build him an indoor nightclub with the idea that it should give the impression of being outdoors when you were indoors.
Now, of course, music and dance are dominant elements in the Cuban zeitgeist. There's that wonderful frenzied photo of Miguelito Valdez on conga singing, I believe, Babalu Aye. And, you know, Desi Arnaz's version seems almost tame in comparison. You also have mambo star Ana Gloria Verona and the great Afro-Cuban diva Celia Cruz. So the music and dance absolutely captivated U.S. audiences and still does. And the Tropicana was in the hub. Well, thank you, Rosa, for a very informative interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.